On. Hey, Graham.
Hey, Josh.
I think we're live.
It's been a while.
It's been a
Forgot what
minute.
it feels like.
I know. It usually means we screw up something. So somebody send us a tweet, tell us that this is working if you're watching live on Twitter.
Yeah, please.
We'll be putting this on the podcast and YouTube later. But for now, we're live on the Twitter, which is I think our favorite format. I mean, we love it all, especially YouTube. YouTube comments are solid, man. We're still getting them from national championship and stuff. So we appreciate you guys.
I know. Yeah, it's been fun interacting with all the folks on YouTube this year.
All right, Graham, you've been busy. I've been busy. You were at the national championship game. I watched it from home after going to the Orange Bowl. And everyone has jumped in and has done a hell of a lot of breakdowns and celebrations and recaps. But this is the official Dog Sports Live recap, and you've gone deep. We've got 99 plays from the offense and defense. We're going to jump into the offense tonight and just see where we go. Before we get into it, when did you watch all this? How many notes? I know you've been looking at the game over and over and over and over again. So these notes.
Yeah.
So just take us in the mindset of the Graham right now.
I mean, these notes have been worked on for probably a month or so. Like, I watched the game once when I came back from Indianapolis. I was pretty sick when I got back. I got the natty flu, as I came to call it, also known as SARS-CoV-19. But yeah, no, I watched it once and just hung out and enjoyed it and soaked it all in without typing anything. And then I've probably rewatched it in like our clip bank 4 or 5 times at this point, which is fun. It's like every time I watch it, we find something different, notice something different. So I think what we have prepared here is a pretty thorough look at the title game. And there's always going to be stuff we miss, right? But definitely hope that you guys enjoy this. It's been fun putting it together, and I'm sure you guys will have all sorts of thoughts in the comments as per usual, but ready to get into it, man. It's been 50 days, so sorry for the delay, but also it's not like there's no football for the next 8 months. So
exactly. We're going to the degenerates crowd, and so these people are ready for this no matter what. So there's no one watching national championship reviews in February, or I guess it's March now, that aren't our people. So with that, let's get into it. First clip. You want to talk about the offensive line? I almost said offensive.
No, you're good. Yeah, so the OL struggled early, and some of that miscommunication was happening between McClendon and Washington right here. They let this blitz come free, and Stetson kind of froze up, right? But there was just a lot early where sitting in the stands, it felt like, and even going back and watching it, like Georgia was getting pushed around up front pretty badly. And some of that was just man on man getting shoved around, but there was a lot of miscommunications happening, a lot of blocking assignments getting missed. That was one of them right there. Just, you've got enough guys. They are trying to kind of block down the line with that play action. And I think that blocking scheme going down the line like that is really designed to look like a run play so that Bama's secondary is going to bite and think that it is a run play and a receiver is going to come open. But you can't really make a play action work if you let the first guy come free like that.
You've got the biggest play nobody talks about.
Right. I mean, this is the Stetson fumble where he takes off. Or wait, I'm sorry. Is this 22?
Yeah, should be.
Okay.
No. This is 22. This is 22. Here we go.
Okay, yeah. I thought, yeah. So this is the fumble where Stetson's gonna run up the middle, and I mean, it was a perfect bounce right back up to him. I heard him say in an interview like later that playing in the dome in Indianapolis, it was cold in the dome, and he hadn't started sweating yet, and like he didn't have a good grip on the ball early in the game, but. I mean, Georgia's already down a score right here. Things aren't going well. You've gone 3 and out and punted. If Alabama gets this ball in this situation, it just I feel like, with the psychology of that series, getting down 10-0, getting down 2 scores was never something that I thought Georgia would have much success recovering from, because they had to stay out of obvious pass situations. They had to keep the defense in conflict, and maybe they don't panic, but the track record of Georgia over the last couple of years has been, if they get down a score or two, really 2 scores or more, then all of a sudden it's pass, pass, pass. And that's not what this game needed to be for them to be successful. So clip 34. Watch Warren Erickson right here, the right guard. He just gets blown by. And I mean, he was struggling early. This is that play. So a lot of people have talked about Bennett's performance early in the game, and there were some things that he did not do well for sure, but he also wasn't getting much protection at all. He was getting flushed out. He did it a couple times. We've got that echo back, Josh. Something just clipped, or I think we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I think just you're going to see Sawyer come in for Erickson here shortly. And
all right.
I think that was the biggest adjustment Georgia made, but
38.
Yeah. So Zamir White just played I think one of his best games in his entire career. He was just major. This was a physical football game. Those 2 front sevens in the first half played as good of a college football game as you've seen 2 front sevens play in I don't know how long, probably since the late 2000s, honestly. And he was delivering these type of body blows all night long, and he was always falling forward. And it was just huge for Georgia and really both teams to stay on schedule. And this was the type of game where a running back getting tackled and falling forward for an extra 2 to 3 yards made a huge difference in play calling. So great job by him.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed that too. It's like falling forward, the early bounce back to on the fumble by Bennett. I mean, yeah, it felt early on that this game was the game it was unfolding like it needed to be for Georgia. And you're right. I mean, Zeus played great. I mean, it was like Nick Chubb always fell forward, and that's sort of what we saw with Zamir on Monday night. It was just awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we joked about it in the stadium. The people I was sitting around, and like everybody was kind of like, haha, like screw you when I said it. But Georgia always over the last few years has started really well against Alabama and gotten these leads and come out, everything's clicking and working well, and then the script gets flipped. And when they went down in this game and nothing was going well, you kind of had the feeling like it can't go any worse.
And we're still in it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It felt like, and we'll talk about this too when we get to the defensive clips, but there were so many chances that Alabama had. Even looking at that long drive they went in the third quarter that ended in the blocked field goal, like they were in the red zone or in the scoring area so many times. And even early in the game, there was some short third downs where Georgia was able to get off the field. And I think they could have been down 14-0, 10-0, 13-0, something like that, very easily at the end of the first quarter, and they were down 3. So, yeah.
Let's look at Darnell here.
So, yeah, look at the route running footwork from Darnell. Remember, he's a 280-pound guy that blocks like a tackle, and this is just kind of a little flash inside, sneak back outside, and Stetson does a good job of timing the route and hitting him in his break, but I really loved this angle that you were able to grab off the broadcast, because you got an idea of how smooth of an athlete he is at 280 pounds. And this was the first sign of life we saw from Georgia all game, really, was this play right here. Again, they're backed up. I think this is the third drive of the game, and that's almost a tip ball, but it's not, which is all that really matters in the end of the day. And all of a sudden you've got a successful play. You've got a first down, like you have something happening, and then the offense starts getting in rhythm, as we're going to see. So this is the long bomb to Pickens. We've got a couple angles of it, but this is some pure like Todd Monken pornography right here. So tight end bunch formation. You've got all three of your tight ends standing up on the right side of the line. Tight end. You got Bowers, Fitzpatrick, and Darnell. Fitzpatrick is the inline tight end there next to Warren McClendon. But first off, you're going to see, if we go back to the original clip and kind of run that in slow motion. So this offensive line is going to down block, like we were talking about earlier, like it's a run play. And then secondly, this formation, three tight ends, tight end, it looks like a run formation. It looks like they're going to try and bully you off the right side of the line. So this fake end around right here is going to force the short side safety, the safety nearest to us on the screen, to freeze up. And it's also going to allow Pickens to get inside, basically, of his man. And then Darnell, you're going to see on this reverse angle here, he's going to run basically a crossing route over the middle here, number 0. And that's going to occupy the other safety. And we know that if you can freeze two safeties, then all of a sudden George Pickens is in a one-on-one matchup. And that's what's happened here, because this safety in the top left of your screen, that guy bid on the fake end around to Bowers, which is a play that Georgia had put on tape all year. And you see Pickens blow past him there. But all of this action, the down blocking, the end around, the route by Washington coming across the formation, all of that is designed to take advantage of George Pickens and one of the 12 snaps that he probably was allowed to play in this ball game. And Todd Monken found a way to get him a one-on-one matchup. Credit to Pickens for winning it. Credit for Stetson. The ball is good enough. I've seen a lot. Like, I saw people the day after the game kind of like criticize this throw from Stetson. If you watch Pickens throughout his entire career, he loves to dive for those balls. Like, I don't recall a time where he has caught one of those types of balls in stride and just kept running. So I don't think it was an overthrow necessarily. It could have been maybe a little bit better throw, but I mean, the coverage was still pretty close.
And if he underthrows it, and you always say, well, give your guy a chance to make a play. If he underthrows it, that ball's batted down and broken up. And then he put the ball where he knew, well, I don't know if he knew it, but he put it out. He didn't want to underthrow that ball. He wanted to either hit him in stride or make him, like you say, Pickens wants to go get those balls. So he did not want to underthrow that. And so he caught it, and man, it was a great catch. I mean, it was just,
mean,
it was fantastic.
Yeah. And I mean, I think just I've kind of like Todd Monken did such a phenomenal job all year long, and it kind of got overshadowed about the like quarterback controversy and all of that. But I mean, he schemed his guys open when he needed to in this game. We're going to show it, as we go through these clips, but all year long, really. So credit to him. So this unreal route by Burton, I know he's on the other sideline now, so it's kind of unique, but he came up big at some crucial spots in this game, and the smoothness on this. I mean, he's in motion and hits that slant. It's a third down situation. It was big. I mean, this drive doesn't cash in for a touchdown, but still, this is beautiful by him coming in motion like that. Just really fluid athlete. Here we go. Yeah, so good recognition, I thought.
It was 69?
Yeah, sorry. I thought we were.
Yeah, we were. I was there.
So, yeah, good recognition by Stetson here. You're going to see Toto blitz right there, and boom, he's going to hit McIntosh with a little easy pitch right there in the space that Toto ran out of, right? And, I thought McIntosh was great in this game. He only played like 8 snaps, and he had 3 receptions and one big carry down on the goal line. But just good, get the ball out quick, recognize what the defense is giving you, take it. And I thought Stetson did a pretty good job early in this game of just, I know he had the fumble, but he kind of got in the flow of things, and he didn't try to play hero ball. He didn't try and do too much, and good play by him there. And then here we go. So not a flashy play, but this is good ball placement from Stetson. This is the type of plays we're talking about, right? This was a fight for every inch kind of game, and good ball placement this is a 2nd and 10 play. That's a tight window. You now are in 3rd and 4 instead of 3rd and 10. And that's where you had to be in this game if you're Georgia. And so that little pattern set up a viable play call on 3rd down.
And here's the 3rd down play.
Yeah. And you're just going to have a little short slant here, I think, by Kyrus.
Yeah, they talk about it all the time.
Or no, I'm sorry, that's by Mitchell, but
they talk about it all the time. It's like the difference between 3rd and 10 and 3rd and 4 is huge.
Right.
And I mean, that's exactly right. I mean, you're not on schedule, but if you make a throw and you get back to a manageable 3rd down, I mean, like you say, every yard and every inch counted in this game.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it was just, and I think that's one thing that I've enjoyed about this format and what we do here is like, we really get to look at not just a couple key highlights, but sort of how everything set itself up. And that's, it's the little play that Stetson makes on 2nd and 10 that allows a slant to be a viable play call option on 3rd and 4. And then your drives continue, and now you're in scoring area inside the opponent's 35, it's so on and so forth. Here you're going to see Broderick Jones, and to some extent, really it's Broderick Jones. But, yeah, he lets that speed rush get around him, and I still kind of put this one on Stetson. Like, he does let the rusher come free off the line, but between Zeus and Jones, there's enough time there for the ball to be getting rid of. They're able to kind of run that free rusher around the backside. But Stetson, that was one of the few times I felt like he sort of didn't have the proper timing in his own mental clock there. And then right here, so clip 70s. Yeah, so this is an interesting play for you, kind of like for the stat community folks. So Karras does not pick up a 1st down. This is a 3rd and 14 play. So as we define success rate traditionally, this is an unsuccessful play because if you don't pick up a 1st down on a 3rd down, it's considered not successful. But what this did was a little 6-7 yard catch, puts Georgia into field goal range, makes this a 3-point game at the half, and you're at 9-6 instead of 9-3.
I will jump.
I just thought that was kind of an interesting nugget.
It is interesting. I actually listened to some interview with Ed Fang, our friend, had on, and they talk about, almost complete, 3rd down where you go 4 and 4th. It should, completion. But that's what EPA is right there, because that is a positive EPA play. So that does go into sort of that explosiveness and not explosiveness, but it goes certainly into your EPA average. Well, right. Yes, that is more valuable than an incomplete pass. But yes, that's why the difference between success rate is binary, yes or no. But EPA is much more nuanced, and it bases everything on, down distance and field position. So that is interesting. Maybe I'll put a tweet about that and decide what an incompletion would have been versus a EPA, because exactly right, it moves you into field goal position, right? So that's probably close to a 0.9 or even maybe a full point EPA on there, even though it was not a successful play.
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting. I know some people
I thought it was interesting too, clearly.
manually adjust their success rates for plays like that, especially in like this era where lots of teams go for it on 4th down, setting up a 4th down, like 3rd and 7, you get 6 yards so that you can quarterback sneak it on 4th and 1, then that 3rd down play was probably successful, right? But I don't know. I mean, yeah, we don't need to dive too deep into the minutia of it, but it is interesting to think about.
So that was the first half. And I mean, can you remember obviously we're all
anxious. Like the vibe in the stadium?
The vibe in your mind, what you're thinking. I mean, because I think we were all saying, like, we hadn't seen, we were still in the game, but we hadn't seen Stetson do anything, even that big pass to Pickens. I mean, like, yeah, you're thinking, well, man, if he hits him in stride, that's a touchdown and stuff. So, I mean, I'm going to be real. I was like, is this the point? I did not think in my mind. I thought that we were going to ride or die with Stetson, because I was like, there's no reason to panic right here. I mean, obviously there might be a reason later, not to give it away. Just spoiler alert, we have a fumble later in the game. But no, what's your vibe? What you're thinking, if you can remember?
I mean, I thought that Georgia was extremely lucky to be in a 9-6 football game. And what I thought more than anything, though, was like, this game is on pace to be played, like a 40 to 45 point total, maybe even less. And that's where Georgia wants to play Alabama, not a 50 to 60 point total. So I thought that it was favorable for Georgia in that sense, but it also felt like, Georgia's defense was the one that was talked about going into this game, and Alabama's defense was playing phenomenal, and they really did play very, very well the entire game. I was surprised about how well Alabama's defense was playing. I was surprised that Georgia had kind of gotten pushed around up front on the offensive line, and that was my concern, was that we're sort of tracking for a game where it feels like Georgia's not going to be able to run the ball. And if that's the case, I don't know that this team is built to come out and throw it 35 times in the second half on the way to a win. And that's not what happened, right? And I mean, we're this first play of the second half we're going to look at here in a second, like, totally changed the tone of the game. And I think, I forget exactly when it was. I think it was sometime in the second quarter when Sawyer came in for Erickson. But a lot changed after that. And the way that Georgia ran and moved around up front, and I don't know if it was a like even just a composure leadership thing or what, but it felt like they started running the ball first drive of the second half that we're going to look at, and then it felt kind of like a different game at that point where, well, we'll talk about it as we go through these clips, but yeah. So clip 87.
Yep. 87. Here we go.
Yeah. So this is first play of the second half, and this theme is established right here. Like, we're going to start dominating you up front, and Sawyer's at right guard. He's going to get a seal. And then Van Peran and Schaefer, the left guard, Schaefer, they get a great double team right there. Totally maul that dude out of the play. I think it's Smith, if I'm not mistaken. And then, yeah, like you've got Georgia's most productive run on the night. You've got 1st and 10. You're out across the 40 or whatever, and things are feeling good. So, and but watch, like, as we move forward through these clips throughout the second half, Georgia ran almost at will right up the middle. And all we had talked about on the show all year long was guard play is not good enough to just go bully people up the middle. And as soon as Sawyer came in at right guard, that changed. And so here, second play, do you remember that formation if we go back? So we saw it on the bomb to Pickens earlier. It's that same heavy tight end bunch. And
same spot on the field too.
Yeah, pretty close. And defense is going to think, if this is a run play, you're thinking shotgun sweep, like we were talking about earlier. We're thinking like some sort of kind of counter action going behind these 3 tight ends. And Bama's in a man defense, and they align everything to the formations right where those tight ends are. And boom, Zamir gets that one-on-one, and he creates
a lot of green grass right there.
Yeah, for sure. And
and it's like, and I'm sure there's a read here. So, I mean, hopefully, 88, that, you want to find the green spots on the field as a quarterback, where they're coming from. That's a good read. And it seems like he's calling this play right here as a way, because there might've been another pass play, but he gets him in the right play.
Yeah. He checks there. And I think it's because they are in man. And I mean, really that's a safety blitz there, but look at Pickens on the bottom of your screen. Like, that goes from being an 8-yard run to a 15, 18-yard run because he's out there blocking his butt off in a one-on-one situation. As soon as Zamir breaks free, he's able to hold that block. So that's, that says a lot, I think, about just, you think about George Pickens, the work that he put in to get back for a few games at the end of this season, and he's on basically a snap count where he's not able to go out there and play 50, 70 snaps. But the times he was on the field, he made the absolute most of, whether that was catching a bomb, the pass interference call that he draws in the fourth quarter right there, getting a key block one-on-one, which was, something he had excelled at throughout his career. But like, that's the culture mentality stuff that you talk about with a team that's able to go all the way. That's just a little bit different than
Yeah,
maybe your average.
and we're in combine season, and you want to talk about what your 40 times are, what your Wonderlic, what your hot shuttle, all that is. But I tell you what, I don't know how this doesn't factor into a decision for who you're going to hire as a wide receiver. That he screwed up his knee early on. He could have checked out. He could have gone into to a personal trainer or whatever. But he rehabbed. He did it. Every time anybody asked about him or coach talked about him, he said he was doing everything he could. He would look great. And he comes in when the team needed him to win. I mean, that's what you want out of a pro. It's like, take care of your body, do what you're supposed to do, get in there, and then eventually, whether that's a playoff run for an NFL team or a Super Bowl like it was for, it was a national championship he came back and was there for us, and maybe he didn't have a ton of stats, but I don't know how that doesn't factor into what you would want out of a wide receiver on the next level.
Agreed. Yeah, 100%.
Where are we? Clip 91.
89.
89?
Yep. So I rarely take issue with a Monken play call, but this wasn't the time for a flea flicker, in my opinion. You've just run the ball up the gut twice in a row. You're pushing them around up front, and you do this, which I think really this was a miscommunication. Like, Mitchell, I believe, is the receiver at the bottom here. Maybe it's George. Actually, it is George. But, yeah, I mean, I think Stetson sees one thing and thinks that this is going to be a go pattern. Pickens cuts it off based on the read that he makes of the secondary, and you've got this intentional grounding call. And this great drive where you've been shoving them around up front is now basically killed, right? So, yeah, it was a little bit of a strange decision it felt kind of like a panic move with 13 minutes left in the third quarter, and you're moving the ball the way that you
are. You're trying to land a punch and you whiffed basically, and you didn't land it.
Well, not only did you whiff, but you kind of like punch yourself in the nuts too, because you've got, it's basically like a 9-yard sack or whatever, however far back he was when he threw the ball with the intentional grounding call. It just, it was a tough one.
Yeah, that's a we're talking about success rate in EPA. That's a very bad EPA wise play right there. So yeah, I agree. I don't remember what I was feeling at that moment. Probably pretty pissed off.
Yeah. So this one was a little tricky. Anderson engages Jones and Schaefer, and he gets caught a little too flat-footed to kick backwards and pick up. Broderick Jones or Schaefer gets caught a little bit too flat-footed to kick back. And no, I'm sorry, I'm reading my notes wrong here. Okay, go back to the start of that play. You're gonna have Will Anderson. He's gonna.
It's coming up. Hang on.
All right, yeah. So Will Anderson, he's gonna come off the edge here, number 31, and basically Georgia messes up in their assignments, and you're gonna have Jones cut inside where Schaefer should have, and now you're kind of, the stunt basically got ruined because they crossed the face of one another, Jones and Schaefer, and now all of a sudden you're in a spot where number 8's coming free, and Stetson's running for his life, and he rightly just throws the ball out of bounds. But, third and long play, kind of if you watch right here from this angle, Darnell is going to break wide open and right at about the time that Stetson has to take off. So you get better protection there. You have Darnell coming open clean on a crossing route, and maybe it's first down, but you're probably in field goal range at 35 there where he would have caught it. So little things becoming big things, right? Which is what we talk about a lot on this show. And then clip 96. Yeah, so Georgia's got the ball back again. It's 9-6. They just had the interception and tip ball. If this ball gets to Brock Bowers, it is blocked really well. Everything is set up in front of him, at least from my eye, for, maybe not a touchdown, but probably a nice gain to to get you right into at least field goal range and looking at
Salyer's
tying the
coming
ball game.
upfield, and yeah, that was it was wide open for him to cut underneath them and go upfield. But yeah, tip balls.
Exactly. So
we get a whole nother season to talk about Stetson Bennett's tip balls.
Oh
too
my
soon.
God.
Too soon.
Way too soon. Okay, so here, this situation in the game, you're right after Georgia's blocked the field goal, and this is the the moment, right? Right off right guard, where Georgia's gotten whipped all season. All of a sudden, Jamari Sawyer is in at right guard. Monken goes back to the run. He goes behind his stud, number 69. You're going to watch Schaefer and Jones come around at left guard and left tackle and get beautiful seal blocks. And boom, James Cook breaks into daylight. And this changed everything, as we all know, right? Like, this was the turning point in the game. And I got to wonder, man, I do have to wonder, like, what does that lineup do if Sawyer's at right guard all year and they let Jones just kind of take his, kind of deal with the learning curve with him at left tackle for a little while against teams that you were going to beat no matter what.
Hey, Graham, we win a natty. That's what happens.
I know. I mean, right. Yeah. I hear you. But still, it's like all of a sudden you have a productive run game at right guard. So
yeah, no, it was. I think you're right. I mean, you were on it all year long, and I think a lot of people were talking about sort of the struggles of the O-line. But once they found it, and they found it at different times and different stretches with different personnel, but
they found it right on time, though.
Not a minute too late.
Yeah, for sure. So 2nd and 6, Georgia has got to get in the end zone. It felt like that. And look at this push from Warren McClendon at right tackle and Jamari Sawyer at right guard. Great tough run by McIntosh, but those two are going to absolutely blow the left side of Bama's defensive line off the ball. Georgia's right guard and right tackle. Just Sawyer walks that dude upfield. McClendon, does a good job there as well. And all of a sudden you're right there knocking on the door. Yeah, and you get a face mask penalty as well. So 1st and goal. And then Jalen Carter is the greatest fullback in the history of football right here. Look at him just explode. Like, that was a stalemate, and all of a sudden he runs into it, and about, I don't know, like 1,200 pounds of humans just rolls off into the end zone. So he continues to be, I think, like one of the more fun Georgia players in a really long time because of how athletic he is and how many things he can do on both sides of the ball. So now you're 13-12, and Alabama's kind of breathing down your neck. Zamir, great run here. He just ran so angry really the whole game, but particularly in the second half. The fumble happens basically like right after this, right? But just the way that he kind of attacks this play, just it's pretty old school looking, like shrugging guys off that high and just falling forward. And there was kind of never any, like, a lot of running backs in that situation, they sort of slow down when they're starting to come into contact, and he just was always delivering punishment. And I think it mattered in the 4th quarter. So moving to clip 151, you look at the score up at the top. Alabama's up 18-13, and at this point, it feels like, oh shit, here we are again. Instead of doing what we all thought Georgia was going to do and going back to the run game, Todd Monken's like, hey, let's throw from the opposite hash a comeback route to Jermaine Burton one-on-one. Stetson really throws a beautiful ball here. I think this was probably his best throw of the game. Timing is perfect. Burton runs a great route. And it just felt so big in that moment. Like, sitting in the stadium, everybody was dejected. It was like, I can't believe we're going to lose this game. And then Burton catches this ball, and everybody's like, oh, look at that. We're almost at midfield. Maybe there's some life here. And Georgia's about to, this is going to be one of the all-time drives in Georgia history, right? Georgia's going to go right back to Burton. He absolutely toasts the defensive back down here who just has to tackle him. If he doesn't, it's a touchdown. I was sitting down in the corner where that ball was thrown, and Burton just like absolutely had him whooped. Who knows if the ball's delivered? I don't know if it's going to be on target or not, but Burton made 2 huge plays there to get Georgia all of a sudden.
And it felt like Alabama stopped. We're either whether we were pass pro is better or that Alabama had changed their rush. That seemed like they were trying to lay back and played coverage, and we beat them. It wasn't, and so they gave him time to throw, and Stetson beat him the entire fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I thought the offensive line, they did some things like you saw a lot more inline tight ends in the fourth quarter. I thought Georgia kind of changed some things up pass protection wise at times, gave Broderick Jones a little more help at left tackle, kept running backs in more to block, like went a little more max protect on some of those pass plays. And they also moved the pocket a lot, like that long throw from Stetson to Burton. They're lined up on the left hash, but he throws it from the right hash. So, I thought it was smart, and it was a situation where having Stetson back there did come to Georgia's advantage because he's always been a little bit more comfortable on the move, truthfully, than he has been just standing in the pocket. But yeah, so we're 154 here. So this is a cool play. Play action to McIntosh, and he's just going to run it straight into a route and catches it at the sticks. What I have in my notes is, can your third string running back run a play action fake straight into a smooth comeback route at the sticks and then catch a contested ball in the air while being hit by a defensive back? Probably not.
Yeah,
that great. I think just that's the recruiting and the talent and Del McGee and like all of it. It's like in games like this against a team that is equally powerful at the line of scrimmage, it's those little X factor plays like Kenny McIntosh coming out of the backfield that can make a huge difference. So Turner is going to blow up Fitzpatrick here. McClendon gets engaged, and Schaefer just can't get back up to pick up 47. And you've got a total bust by protection, basically. But yeah, you see Nolan Turner just come around Fitzpatrick, even though Fitzpatrick's holding him. And yeah, that's it right there. I mean, like, that dude's a beast, man. I mean, he was coming away, like, just at the game in person and watching back these clips, I was like, can't believe they have him and Will Anderson next year. It's pretty scary. But here you go. So this catch right here, coming into clip 157, it's unreal, right? Like, it's an unreal catch by Mitchell. But Cook is the one that goes all out to make that play happen. If we can do that reverse angle again. This is why in February of last year, we're talking about Kenny McIntosh's stats in pass protection, because the details matter. And when it mattered in the fourth quarter of a national title game, James Cook had his head on a swivel, saw the delayed blitz coming, and got there and gave his quarterback enough protection to throw the ball, and Georgia takes the lead for good. So it's just, I think, makes what we do on this show a lot of fun, right? When the little details actually end up having that big ripple effect on something like winning a national championship or not winning a national championship. Because I don't know if Georgia wins the national championship without that play. It was so massive at that moment for Georgia to score there and not get into a 2-minute situation and, just swing the momentum. I know that some people don't believe in that word, but like the vibe in that stadium was kind of like the air was going out of the balloon, and all of a sudden everyone was like, holy crap, Stetson Bennett just threw a 45-yard touchdown pass to A.D. Mitchell, and Georgia's in the lead with 8 minutes to go in a national title.
I don't remember. I mean, I remember a couple of things I said. My bold prediction before the year was that James Cook would lead SEC running backs and Heisman votes. That was my prediction, and that didn't happen. But it was all about, we talked about it, doing the things, blocking, and that veteran of Zamir White and James Cook was obviously very important. We have tons. The running back room is well documented as deep and lots of talent. And Kenny McIntosh has shown flashes. And Kendall Milton was coming in as a true freshman. The 5-star from California that wanted to play and stuff, and just all those guys. But yeah, there it was. And when the game was on the line, your veteran, 4-year starter James Cook laid a block that made it happen on a free play, and rest is history, as we like to say.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm with you. Yeah, and I mean that catch, man. Like I said earlier, I was sitting in that corner, and I don't know, it was probably 30 rows up or so, and just it looked like it. I mean, the ball was underthrown. It was a little underthrown, and Mitchell just went up and over and made a phenomenal play, and that that's how it happens usually, right? Like it's one-on-one battles, and you win some, you lose some, and he went and won that one.
God,
but
so ridiculous.
Yeah, but I mean, I when he caught the ball, when I saw him catch the ball over his shoulder, I didn't think there was any way he was going to survive the tackle to the ground, and he did. So right here, this is supposed to be a little just a little run play basically by Cook, and Sawyer's pulling from right guard around, and Dallas Turner is just too fast again. 15. I know I said it a few minutes ago, but was really impressed by him. He just strings that play out because Sawyer can't get there and get a hat on him.
All right, 166.
Yep. So 1918, Georgia gets that 3 and out, and here comes Broderick Jones on that pull again from left tackle, coming around in the hole. Him and Schaefer, really great job. And all of a sudden, Georgia's back in midfield, and the clock is running, tick, 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 and you're dominating Alabama in the fourth quarter on the line of scrimmage, which is something that nobody's done in 15 years. And Georgia's doing it. So, yeah, and then watch Cedric Van Peran here, center, 63. He's going to have a long career in the NFL. Broderick Jones does a good job. Him and Schaefer, the whole center over Van Peran, Schaefer at left guard, and Jones at left tackle. Really good play. Make an alley for Zeus. But
and Bowers holds the edge there too. I mean,
yeah. Bowers is an incredible blocker, man. I mean, anyone can be forgiven for not talking about it because of what he does in the pass game, but
to be in the pass game as a tight end, you got to be able to block,
Yeah, for sure. Or to play receiver at Georgia, you got to be able to block, in any form. So here we go. Pickens again, right? One of those few snaps he has in this game. He makes all of them count. He draws 15, puts Georgia into scoring range. I actually thought this was kind of a good decision by Stetson of all right, here comes Will Anderson to kill me. I trust George Pickens in one-on-one situation.
Cut that short.
Worked out well for him.
Cut that clip a little short.
Yeah, but you get the picture.
Yeah. Where are we on? Are we on 174?
171.
171. All right.
Yeah. So the blocking here is good enough, but yeah, look at Zamir again, just pushing the pile, driving, just getting lower than everybody else, and it's just angry. And this is that mentality of we're going to beat you in the fourth quarter, and there's no such thing as curses. We've been running stadium stairs since the wintertime, and the dark and cold and all that stuff that they've talked about. And it's that I know I said it a minute ago, but have you seen anyone push Alabama around up front in the fourth quarter of a close ball game under Nick Saban other than maybe his first season?
I don't. This play got me as fired up as just about any in the game. I really did. I
Yeah.
mean, it was just like, and then I also wanted to scream that there was going to be a personal foul at the end of the game when the puck
When
got.
Schaefer comes and
Yeah,
like,
it's like,
belly flops into it.
yeah. But no,
Yeah.
that was just like you. That's what you want to see out of your fourth quarter team.
Yeah, for sure. And then here's the play to Bowers. And I mean, a couple things. So here's Monken again, right? Of course, Bowers is the guy to do it because he that came up when they needed a play all year. But the block by Rosemeat is incredible, and I know people have noticed it, which I'm happy. But like, how you do anything is how you do everything, right? And Rosemeat was emerging in 2020. He never quite got healthy this past season. He breaks his leg in the Florida game after catching a beautiful touchdown pass. And he made some incredible blocks in this game. There's a lot of clips where he's blocking his butt off on the edge. And we never heard whispers of him being unhappy or potentially transferring, like not being satisfied with the number of targets. Like the guy just worked all year long, put his head down. And that's why he's trusted in this situation to push the guy across from him into the paint of the end zone on third down and 41 years to go for Georgia and Indianapolis. And I think like that's credit to him, but also credit to what Georgia and Kirby Smart has built. And I know we're in this transfer portal era and you do have to recruit your players all year long. You do have to keep guys happy, not pretending like you don't. But at the end of the day, like the culture of that team was so much more team first than me first. And I thought it was very symbolic that 81 was the guy that was on the field for that play that put Georgia over the top there.
Well, I was going back at the stats. I mean, and it was a very close offensive production-wise game, and it was very much the defenses were definitely the stars, obviously, and our offense made more plays than they did. That's what it came down to. I think we're both hovering around 40% success rate, and that's exactly where that's exactly where I expected them to be, and we made the plays. Georgia made the plays, and that was freaking awesome. It was just whether it's just a heads up play by a veteran quarterback that knows you got a free play on the pass to AD Mitchell. I mean, you've seen Aaron Rodgers do that 100 times in the NFL. The guy jumps off sides and you just throw it up and it's a touchdown. It's just an absolutely backbreaking play. The fumble was, I think it's 50-50. And if Georgia fans put truth serum in them, they'd probably say, sure, that's a fumble. But I think that's colored by the fact that the, play early in the game versus on Bryce Young was not called a fumble. But I mean, that was just, I couldn't write this script. You were close to a score prediction on had it right, but it doesn't unfold ever when you got two great teams. It's just like it's a true like a boxing match is a analogy that gets run into the ground, but it damn sure felt like two heavyweights going at it.
It did, yeah. It was that kind of game, right? I mean, it was a lot like the 2017 game in Atlanta. Like it was physical and it was defense first, and like you said, I mean, this time it was Georgia that was making those plays in the fourth quarter, and Alabama was the team that felt like they were kind of hanging on. But I do think, I am curious, like for you, because you were so down after the SEC championship game and just like so much defeatism and for good reason, right? Like I understand where you were coming from, but I know that a lot of people like joked with me on Twitter and text messages in the days after the game of like, has Josh smiled? Like, is Josh happy now? So is Josh happy now?
Oh yeah, no, I mean absolutely. I mean like, it's funny that you had that reaction because I was definitely beaten down by that game, and it was like where my mindset was like, here we go again. It's like it was just like all I could hear is Alabama footsteps. And that's what it felt like I saw Georgia do. It was just like, it's Alabama. We can't beat them. And I doubted, and damn, they proved me wrong. I will be so happy to be loud wrong on, downplaying what Georgia can do. But
no, I mean, I'm not saying it like that because I think there was a lot of people that
no, I
felt
mean,
that way.
I'm just talking. I am 100%. I do not deny these charges laid against me. No, but it was
yeah.
I mean, but it was pointed out as as you start, we had 3.5, 4 weeks, whatever it was before the Orange Bowl, and it just as you start looking at it, I mean, there was nothing in the stats that was encouraging from that game. If you just look at it on paper, there was just absolutely we got demolished. And we played poorly in most every facet of the game. Brock Bowers certainly had a good game, but for the most part, it was just But as you look at it on tape, like you pointed it out, and that wasn't the same defense. Whether it was there was maybe someone they weren't maybe they were sick, maybe there was a regular flu going through there or whatever it was. It just wasn't the same team. I'm not going to sit there and tell you that Kirby took a game off, but it just wasn't the same team. Now the question was whether we could rally and have the team that we saw for 12 games before that show up for the playoffs, and they did. They blew the doors off of Michigan, and that was a hell of a fun game to watch from the stands. And they played, they laid it all on the field against Alabama and won in the most awesome way ever, on a back-breaking, pick six that we're going to talk about on our next show. So it was awesome.
For sure. And I'm glad you bring up the SEC championship and the defense and all that, because there was a lot of things that got adjusted. And I did think, I know I did the SEC championship kind of quick and dirty review show by myself because I didn't want, I knew you were just so kind of over it for a little while there. But on that show, the one thing that I came away from kind of feeling hopeful for Georgia's chances if they did play at Alabama again in a rematch was every time they brought more than 4 on defense on Bryce Young, except for maybe one play, good things happened. And so I think there was some relief on my part, early in the game in Indianapolis when Georgia looked like an aggressive, fast fly around the ball, the same team they had all year, instead of we're going to rush 3 and sit back in a 8-man zone and let Alabama pick us apart like we're Arkansas or something. So we'll get into all that. Yeah, next show we have all the defensive clips, which I think there's actually
I think there's more.
There's a lot more defensive clips than there are offensive clips.
It's a lot. It's a lot, guys. It's a lot of clips.
Oh wow, you printed them out and everything, man. That's better than I am. But yeah, before we sign off, man, is there any other thoughts or stuff that you want to address?
I think there's been a lot. I think 4 coaches have left, been switched out, gone on to different things, or Matt Luke has left the program. But that's a mark of a good program. Your coaches are going to get picked off and take other opportunities, and whether it's just better opportunities personally or a chance to step up. But none of that really scares me. I would say if you told me I was going to lose every coach, you get to keep one, it'd have been Monken. So yeah. I'm excited to have. I mean, Kirby hasn't had that continuity on offense yet. So this will be. Am I wrong? I mean, this is the first time we'll have an offensive coordinator for 3 straight years.
He had Chaney for 16, 17, and 18.
Okay, all right.
And then he had Coley for 19. So yeah, this will be the second time.
Okay, I thought Chaney was. I thought we had Chaney for 2 years, but you're right. I mean, but yeah, exactly right. In we came into 2018, we were rolling in offense. And here we are.
Yeah. That was by far Georgia's best offense under Kirby Smart.
Yeah, so I'm excited to have that continuity in offense, and there's plenty of reasons. Our offensive line is going to be great, I believe. I really do feel like some of these younger guys we leaned on some veterans that have been there with the program for a long time, but there's a lot of studs. I'm hopeful that Amarius Mims comes out of spring practice with us, knowing what his job is going to be, and that job is going to be wearing the Super G on Saturdays and knocking people off the ball. So
yeah, for sure. Well, maybe we'll get another another throwback pass to him on G Day like we did last year, because that was pretty fun. But
I had forgotten about that, dude. It's been a year.
I know it's been a long time.
It's 1 year. We're 1 year anniversary of Dog Sports Live.
I think it's around there. Yeah.
We started kicking it off with the program.
The spring position previews back
position
last winter.
previews. Exactly right. And now we get to rehash the national championship instead. It's pretty cool.
Not bad. Yeah, we've had a pretty good year to start out covering Georgia, but yeah, we'll definitely get into, deep dives of who's gone and who's come back and new faces on coaching staff and recruits and all of that stuff.
And we're going to be hiring a new basketball coach. We can talk about that at some point.
Oh, we'll definitely be talking about that. But yeah, I mean, we should be back, if I'm not mistaken, later this week to do defense. So you guys join us and tune in, and thank you for all of you who enjoy this show enough to have asked us when we were gonna do this film review.
I know. We haven't done it. Pressure is a privilege. I felt definitely.
Yeah. Well, during the season, it's like you're under the gun. And I'm kind of glad we waited, because it was fun to come back and look at it with fresh eyes and enjoy it. And I hope you guys have all enjoyed it, and I hope you guys will join us for the defensive clips, because there's so much insane stuff in there, and there's so much insane stuff that defense did all year, that I'm excited to look at it together and talk about it.
Graham, it was awesome. Hell of a job putting this all together, and look forward to doing the defense later this week. And
thank you.
Please share, retweet, rate, review, all that sort of stuff. And with that, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.